Hello, I'm Rex Maynard. I'm chairman of the South Carolina Tennis Hall of Fame Selection Committee and also the historian of the South Carolina Tennis Hall of Fame. And I'm glad to be here tonight along with Paul Pittman, who is one of our 2020 Hall of Fame inductees. So congratulations, Paul.
Well, thank you, Rex. It's a huge honor, and I'm certainly mindful of that.
Well, we're mighty proud of you and all you've done for tennis in South Carolina. I'll just give a quick overview. Paul is one of our top volunteers in the state of South Carolina. He's been involved. He was a player, actually a team captain of an adult league team, and I think he won a state and maybe even a sectional championship. So as we discussed, that's probably not why you inducted, but all the work you've done as a volunteer is the main thing. You got involved with Florence Tennis Association and helped revitalize that. You led that group on to becoming the USTA National Community Tennis Association of the Year. So that's fantastic. And then you got, at the same time, got involved with South Carolina, and we're so glad you did. And you became president of South Carolina. Then you became the chair of the South Carolina Tennis Patrons Foundation. Got involved with Southern, the 9-state Southern level, and you chaired several committees and actually advanced all the way up to serve on the board of directors. And then even the national level at USTA, served on numerous committees. You served on the nominating committee, which is a huge responsibility. And I think now you're serving on the NJTL committee. So that's just a quick overview. And another thing about Paul, you're really unique in the fact that you won the highest volunteer recognition from both South Carolina and Southern. In South Carolina, you've won the President's Award. You also received the Lucy Garvin Volunteer of the Year Award. At the Southern level, you've won the President's Award, and you received both the Charlie Morris Volunteer Service Award, as well as last year, you received the Jacobs Bowl. Tell us how you got involved with tennis.
Well, it's not a very elaborate story. In 1990, I was about to retire from the Army, my first retirement, and I was looking around for something that would be a little more exciting than running every day. My wife had started playing tennis with neighbors. We were in Florida, and so I went out and played and loved it. About 2 years later, we moved to Florence, South Carolina. I took my racket, went down to Timrod Park, the public courts, and hung around until people started asking me to play, and wound up from there becoming a league player, team captain. Rex, we won South Carolina 3 times, and once at state, and went to Tucson, Arizona to play in the Nationals. It was basically love the first time I stepped on the court, and I've loved the game ever since, and particularly love the people involved in it.
Do you have a favorite memory from your USTA Adult League play?
I sure do, Rex. It would have to be that trip to Tucson. We had one in Mobile. We were a little bit excited, of course, but we were also a little worried as to how we were going to get the whole team, about 14 guys, to Tucson. We started a local fundraiser. We were the first team from Florence ever to make it to the Nationals, and that stood us in good stead, and we were able to raise enough money to take everybody to Tucson, keep them in a nice hotel for the whole tournament, and have a good time. It was definitely a highlight.
Can you tell us how you became a volunteer for South Carolina tennis and for Florence tennis?
Well, it was the normal progression from local tennis to state tennis, and then of course to working at Southern and National to some extent. We had a CTA, and about my second year in town, someone asked me to be on the board. The CTA wasn't very proactive. And in fact, it had been set up as a subset of the city recreation department, mainly to provide volunteers. I basically became president the next year and took the liberty of rewriting our bylaws to make us an independent entity. We became a 501c3, and then basically went from there to getting extremely involved in the local community. We set up a basic philosophy that we needed to prove ourselves as good corporate citizens. And once we did that, the community would support us. And they did, to the tune of first repaving Timrod Park, then of course building a very nice new tennis center, and along the line doing a lot of other things to help us out as an organization. But we still have that philosophy. We try to be good corporate citizens, try to get involved in things in the community, try to pay back. From there, I basically got involved at South Carolina, chaired the Community Development Committee, and went from there to the board and became the president for, of course, the regular 2-year term. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I went on to work at Southern and at National, as I said. It's the people who have kept me in tennis. Not only are they great people and fun to be around, but they're fun to work with. That's probably the driving force behind my volunteerism.
We mentioned a lot of your accomplishments as a volunteer, but can you tell us what you think your greatest accomplishment has been as a USTA volunteer?
Well, quite frankly, let me go to what I'm working on right now. I have wanted for years to get an effective youth program here in Florence that deals with underserved populations and has the wherewithal to persist. Because you know the history of such programs is that people tend to get a grant. When the grant money expires, it's been almost impossible to raise enough money locally to keep a good program going. I'm working on one now, and I've formed a local steering committee to raise money, and I've already got the pledges I need to go well past the first 2 years when I've got some grant coverage. I've also, of course, got a community tennis association. The Florence Tennis Association is kicking in money every year on a continuing basis. So I think that's going to be something that's going to last. And I'm really looking forward to it. I want to start it as a youth program and hopefully convert it at some point to an NJTL chapter. So that's one of the big things that in my tennis volunteering. I loved working with community development, both at Southern, at State, at National. That's, you know, the thing I like most is watching people move forward in their communities, because I know that's going to grow tennis nationally.
I mentioned earlier about the Lucy Garvin Volunteer of the Year Award in South Carolina, and of course then the Jacobs Bowl at Southern. Just two of the highest honors a volunteer can receive. How do you feel about receiving those 2 honors?
Rex, you know, the awards I've won are certainly meaningful. They are somewhat daunting because they are named for and have been won by some truly amazing people. The sense that you have when you're recognized that way is that it's wonderful that people think that well of you, but it's even better that they would, at least in terms of selecting you for an award, put you in the same category with some of these truly outstanding tennis players, coaches, leaders who've been in South Carolina and in the South over the years. It's you know, the honor is hard to describe, but it's certainly there, and the sense of awe persists to this day from each of those awards.
Paul, and again, congratulations, and thank you for spending a little time with me this evening. I think you've given us some great insight, and thanks for all you do for tennis.
Thank you, Rex. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.